Again, I'm Joe Regguinti. You guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. So I'm gonna get started. So what we're gonna do today is we are gonna fill bags that I got here, these Ziploc bags with the amount of added sugar, white sugar, uh, into the bags of how much the weight would be. Um, so a few of the products have different serving sizes. So I'm gonna do the math on my phone here, but I think I'm gonna start out with like the Coca-Cola, just so you see how much added sugar is in there, and then we'll go from there. And like I said, feel free to ask me any questions as I'm going, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With no water or any other products in it would look like this, the sugar in this cup so far. All right, there we go, 65 grams. So I did this earlier this week, and a few coworkers were like, oh, that doesn't seem like that much sugar. We got about that much in the bag from one can of Coke. I think the thing to remember though is I know when I used to drink a lot of soda, like one of these would just go down and then I'd get another one. So it might not look like a ton in the bag, but just kind of keep in mind that that's the added sugar of one. Let's go with Gatorade. Gatorade is good with the electrolytes, but electrolytes are sodium and potassium. That's basically what they're adding in here, which is salt in a lot of forms. So you could get them in a number of different ways. That's not this. You can go with the sugar-free Gatorade. If I'm really wanting one, that's what I personally would do. Some other people, you got to do what's right for your own health though, and some people don't like the fake sugar that gets put in there. Let's see. So Gatorade has 34 grams of added sugar. Again, not an absolute ton of added sugar, but when you're drinking a few of these, it really adds up. It's kind of what in your daily diet where you're drinking things with added sugar. I'll just give a little post up. The soda and the Gatorade are fairly comparable. There's definitely more in the soda, but another one, fruit juice. It's really important to like look at labels that, at least for me as a diabetic, you see stuff like this, it tastes really good. It says fruit juice on it. It contains 10% fruit juice, and the added sugar content is 42 grams. Let's see. All right, we got 42 grams of added sugar. So the Snapple is a bit more than the Gatorade. But the last drink we have here is Pure Leaf Sweet Tea. Let's see. This is the exact same as the Snapple, 42 grams of sugar. This is the sugar content of the sweet tea. Less than the soda. The soda has the most. But again, a lot of times when we're drinking these drinks, when I'm drinking these drinks, I should say, I'll have multiples of them. Each individual one of these packs, they're come in a 6-pack, have 15 grams of added sugar. So I'm going to just multiply here 15 by 6, get 90 grams. So if you were to eat all of these, you'd have 90 grams of added sugar. There we go. That's the Mott's applesauce. There's a lot of sugar. It's more than the soda. I mean, I don't think I'd eat 6 of those at a time, but I wouldn't put it past my kid to eat 6 of those at one given time in one sitting. Let's go with the Heinz ketchup next. There's 33 servings in here. We're going to multiply that by, each serving has 4 grams of added sugar, 132 grams of added sugar. Ketchup, a lot. I find it to be a lot of sugar. I really kind of figured out about ketchup when I was in the grocery aisle and I was looking at the no sugar added ketchup, and I was like, oh wow, there is kind of a lot of sugar in ketchup. And then I bought some of the no sugar added ketchup. It's okay. It tastes very vinegary. I know this is actually the highest one. Let's just get it out of the way right now. So this has 24 servings. A serving size is 2 tablespoons. There's a ton of sugar. We got 24 servings times 23 grams of added sugar. 552 grams of added sugar if you were to down that whole bottle. And although you might not do it immediately, I mean, if you're going through a bottle of this every few weeks or every month, you eat a lot of pancakes or waffles, you know, it just adds up to be a lot. All right. And that's the syrup right there. Let's see. Yes. I remember when I did this earlier in the week, like I was kind of mentioning, just a little trial run. And I was just thinking, like, man, the bottle has some weight, but they're pretty close. It's mostly added sugars here in a bottle of syrup. It's got to be 90% of the size. It's huge. It's huge. A lot of added sugar and syrup. Let's see. All right, strawberry jelly is next. Let's see. We got 28 servings in this. We got 28 servings, so 28 multiplied by 10 grams of added sugar. All right, right on. So yeah, here's the jelly. This is what the jelly is looking like. Next to the syrup, it looks pretty small. All right, and the last one, Sweet Baby Ray's. There's a lot of added sugar in this. Let's see. We got 14 servings times 16 grams added sugar per serving. We are at 224 grams of added sugar. A lot of times, man, I still use it, but I'll either use it after the fact, you know, I'll boil or bake, or broil my ribs. And the thing I will do is add this on after, so I know how much of the product I'm using. 2 tablespoons a serving. It's a lot of the servings for these condiments. But yeah, that's a ton of sugar. A little bit less than the jelly, slightly less than the jelly. But when you look at it side by side to the size of the bottle, got to think a lot of what you're putting in your body is added sugars. A1's really good. That's another one I use personally. But yeah, that's the products I got today. I'm really happy that you guys were able to sit through the demo. I hope it provided some good information for you. It's really sneaky. There's a lot of other products out there too where they're adding sugar.
Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, put them in the chat. Unmute yourself really quickly.
How about some Heinz 57 sauce?
The Heinz 57 is right here.
No, the Heinz 57. The steak sauce.
That's the other blend.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% certain on that. I got Andy looking it up. I know when I started using, like really kind of doing a deep dive into it for myself personally, I think Heinz 57 actually has quite a bit of sugar in it. That's why I went with the A1. I definitely used to like Heinz 57 more. Like I said, I'm a diabetic, so I try to steer clear of added sugars. I don't completely eliminate them from my life because I mean, you know, it's moderation, watching, and just kind of having the knowledge to know and be a conscious consumer and be knowing what you're putting in your bodies. So it'd be a little bit more than this. It'd be 10 grams of sugar more than this. This is the Mott's applesauce. We would have less than the ketchup. Yeah, so just something to watch. Appreciate the question. Anybody else?
Ooh, here's a really good question. What is the healthiest sweetener?
Man, I think I could just tell you what works for me personally. I try to sweeten things with like natural fruits, like oatmeal in the morning. I'll put in blueberries. Carbohydrates are not they're not the enemy. We need them for most things in our life. We need them for all things in our life. They're actually the quickest breaking down macronutrient out of fats, carbohydrates, proteins. It's easiest for our body to use carbohydrates. In terms of the healthiest way to get sugar, I'd say fruits, vegetables, whole grains. If you're gonna have to use a condiment, just try to use one lower in sugar. That's what I would personally do. A1 is great for me for that. What other ones do I use? Yeah, that's one of my top ones. That and hot sauce, man. I love hot sauce. We got about 20 bottles in the office. Great way to get flavor.
What
Thank you.
about honey?
Do not know too much about honey. Do not know too much about honey.
What about maple? Real maple?
Man, again, I'm gonna have to defer. I don't have a bottle of it in front of me. They do boil it down and it is very high in sugar, but I would feel more comfortable with it as it's coming straight from the sap. At the same time, another thing is just moderation, just watching what you're doing. If it says a serving size, maybe you just try to do with like a serving size of that, like 2 tablespoons. That's what works for me. Just try to enjoy the little sweetener on it. I mean, pancakes and stuff like that are already pretty high in carbs. So I'll just try to stick with making sure I'm using like a reasonable serving size.